Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? So, what was the groundbreaking, almost breathtaking news that we got over the weekend? Warren Buffett is absolutely going to step down as CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, actually announcing that Greg Gable is going to take his place as CEO. It's been known for 4 years, so there was absolutely no shock. I think the shock came from the timing. Just we knew it was coming, but surprise, surprise. Going out on his own terms. I love it. Still going to be around. He's going to remain as chairman. Says that he thinks that the reason why he's staying around is because he thinks he'll make more money with Greg than he did with himself. That's pressure. That's pressure. You want to know something else that happened over the weekend during his conference? He took 4 hours. Man of that age, he sat there for 4 hours taking questions. 4 hours. Wow. Hat tip to that young man. But here's the deal. I'll give you the quote. We're operating at a fiscal deficit now that is unsustainable over a very long period of time. I'll say it again for you. Buffett says, we're operating at a fiscal deficit now that is unsustainable for over a very long period of time. I want you to think about that for a moment. And the reason why is because we have been running it for a long time. And he's basically saying, cut that crap out. Go fix it. Do something. The U.S. government hasn't done anything except put forward tax cuts. We have a problem paying our bills. And so let's make it so we get in less revenue from the richest entities in the country, in the world. And we'll just keep squeezing the poor for their tax dollars. Yeah. All I'm saying is that we've been running up this deficit for a while. And when people say, and they come back and go, oh, it was the previous regime. I want you to go back and I want you to look at what's going on. I want you to look at all that. Go back in history. Start from Clinton and go forward and see how that all works out for you. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Don't listen to people giving you yakety schmackety. Go verify. I tell you guys all the time, I say something, I go verify. Lieutenant, go in the corner. Lieutenant goes in the corner. He's the first of the day to go in the corner. It's what, 5:30 your time? Yeah, go in the corner. You're already in the corner so early, man. It's crazy. But think about this. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, is saying the United States is not operating properly. What other hints do you need? We've been doing everything wrong for a long time, spanning presidencies. When is Congress going to do something? This is affecting our bags. Clearly affecting our bags. We're at a point right now where the only people that can sustain any kind of economic hit are already rich or wealthy. And even some of the rich will have a painful reality check. Painful reality check. The wealthy won't worry about anything. You want to know why? The wealthy own a lot of stuff. They own a lot of stuff. So they're going to keep generating money for themselves. They'll be able to sustain themselves. So, I actually know what SSS means. So, yeah, when I look at, what we've got going on, I listen to all these people. Oh, we need to lower the interest rates. We need to do this. Those people are not economists. I'm not an economist, right? I'm not an economist. So I'm going to say it out loud. I do my own research. I listen to people that actually know more than me about the topics that I'm researching. I compare notes. I verify. I dig in. And when I dig in, it took 3 seconds for me to figure out that we've got a $37 trillion deficit that we can't control, that we can't sustain. And nobody's going to pay attention to what Warren Buffett had to say about it. I think a lot of people are saying it. They're just saying it behind closed doors. Offering a tax cut, no matter who it's for, is one of the worst ideas that we've ever heard. Because you have to look at who's actually getting the permanent tax cuts. Not only do they want to offer new tax cuts, but they want to make permanent the older tax cuts. And here's something else for you to think about. Those tax cuts, none of them were for the poor. None of them were for anybody below $150,000. Anybody that's making below $900,000 is going to see a tax increase. Everybody above $900,000, yeah, you heard, that's right. They're going to see a tax cut. They're literally going to see a tax cut. Let that just wash over you for a bit. Let that wash over you for a bit. How does that make sense? The richest and the wealthiest pay less, but everybody else has to pay more. The people that have it the least have to pay more. Go read that bill. Yeah, heck, you want to be lazy? Don't even read the bill. Take the bill, drop it in the ChatGPT, get the salient points, and there you go. There you go. Or Claude or Grok or whichever AI you happen to like. Get the salient points and look at it, and you'll sit there and you'll just go, wow. You know you've got a problem with your tax plan when even Rand Paul is saying there's an issue. Tell me that's not crazy. Tell me that's not crazy. 1040 is the tax form that gets filed. W-2 means that you are an employee, and they go hand in hand. So you're not. Come on, man. Come on. Is it too early? You haven't had your coffee yet? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Okay. All right. 1040 is the form that you fill out for your personal taxes. A W-2 is what you get from the company that you work for when you're an employee. If you're not an employee, you get a 1099, or they pay your corporation, in which case they'd let the government know that they paid out this amount of money to this business, and you have to say that I received this amount of money from that business or that person. That's how that works. So yeah, different, but not different. What are the key things that I'm looking for this week? We've got PMI, we've got jobs numbers, and of course we have the FOMC. We also have trade deficit issues, so I'm expecting some kind of something about tariffs. Well, why do we keep calling them tariffs? About the unnecessary trade war. How's that? We'll call it that. The UTW, the unnecessary trade war. Wars, because we've declared war with a whole bunch of countries for no reason. Just because, it's foggy out. That's why. Let's just try to understand this. Now, Arizona wanted to become the first state to invest in Bitcoin, and Katie Hobbs was like, nah. She said she vetoed it. She vetoed the bill. And she's like, nah, that's not happening. That's not happening. Nope. And I get it. There are also people in Congress that are saying, no, we're going to withdraw our support for the Genius Act, right? For stablecoins. And they're like, yeah, we're going to pull back on that because there's no AML in it, anti-money laundering. As well as they're like, about that $2 billion deal that just happened, that unnecessary investment in a coin that was supposedly to invest in something. Yeah. This is not looking well. There are too many avenues for the current regime to receive money off the books, or in a roundabout way, and he's already showing privilege to those people that have invested the most. Not people from a lottery and they received NFTs they received NFTs to their wallets that say you were chosen to meet with the president, blah, blah, blah. No, the top 200 odd people that invested will come on. Like, what? Okay. Aren't there rules against that? Aren't there rules against, selling out? I'm just asking for a friend, just wondering. Japan's new AI bill, approved by lower house, actually promotes self-regulation over penalties to boost innovation. So here's another country that's big on technology that's saying, yeah, there are better ways that we can do things. You want to know who else is doing something? I was reading an article late last night. Yeah, late last night. And India is graduating a whole bunch of entrepreneurs, a whole bunch of job creators. So the whole world is sending India their jobs. And now India is graduating people from college that are also creating jobs. Let that sink in a little bit. Let that get in there, marinate a little bit. Just marinate. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, we're giving away so many jobs, and this country is also producing their own jobs. When are we going to produce jobs? I'm not talking about, those lower level jobs. I'm talking about those higher level jobs, those strategic thinking jobs that we were always told we're gonna come into existence after we gave away manufacturing. Those jobs that we are now giving away to countries like India. Yeah. I was working for a major medical devices corporation. And I was a part of the team that was creating centers of excellence around the world for particular skill sets. That's a fancy way of saying we were picking out where we found pockets of people that could do specific jobs. Not in the United States. Wow. And when you think that, some of these jobs, they're just call center jobs, they're low level jobs, they don't matter. No, they were not. They were not. And they are not. We ship out more jobs than we should. We really do. Do United States citizens need a wake-up call in terms of how much they want to be paid? I think everything in the United States kind of needs to be reset, right? We pay more for everything in this country. Everything. From pharmaceuticals to cars to everything. We pay more for everything. And there needs to be a reset on all of it, right? Like I said, companies need to figure out what's enough. People need to figure out what's enough. Cal Maine needs to figure out what's enough. That's right. I named the company specifically Cal Maine because they made 3 times their normal profits. And what do they do for a living? Oh, that's right. They are the country's largest egg producer. 3x profits. I keep talking about it because egg prices are still astronomical. They made 3x. 3 times what they normally make in profit is what they made. Divide it by 3. Divide your egg price by 3. That's probably what it should be. How's that for nuts? How's that for insane? Oh, the birds died because of, the bird flu thingy, bobby, right? Yeah, it was that. Yeah, no, that was taken care of a long time ago. A long time ago. We need to think about that. So it's no income tax under $149,000 on a 1040, supposedly. Never mind. I will talk to Grok and actually know the answer. Because look at those numbers. So under 150, supposedly, you're not going to pay a certain amount of money. It's not going to work out like that. And my name's not Ed. Never call me Ed. I hate being called Ed. Ed's a dead horse. Actually, know the answer. My point is that I guess we need quit working at 140. Yeah, because it goes by. I think that's the wrong idea. I get what you're saying. But think about how much money you earn, how you go to work every day, how you do what you do to earn a living, put food on the table. Literally, we're trying to. It looks like the government of the United States is trying to make the United States even more broke than what it is when you think about what they're trying to do. How crazy is that? Think about that. Is that insane or what? So when you look at, they call them entitlements, and I'm like, Social Security is not an entitlement when I'm putting my money into it. Medicare is not an entitlement when I'm putting my money into it. I'm paying for it. We are paying for it. Ooh, that hurts, doesn't it? Yeah, you're going to take away something that's already paid for? What? That you're gutting. You're stealing from the United States, from the United States citizens. That's how I look at it. It needs to be an inflation-adjusted income that pays no tax. 150K would be weekly income in a few years. To me, it's not about the amount of money that you're making. It's about the quality of life, right? How much everything costs. When you look at the cost of, because I'm looking at jobs. If I'm looking at the cost of hiring somebody in the United States and the cost for that same job, the cost of hiring somebody in India, and the person in India is like 1/3 less than the person in the United States, educated can do the job, not a problem. Companies are making decisions like that, except that the experience is here. But now we're even giving away that experience. We're bringing in H-1B visas, people with H-1B visas. They're getting the experience, and then they're going back. We're shipping everything out. We are shipping everything out. When I look at some of these young kids out here, and they're not able to think about how to do simple things like change a tire, build a computer, simple things like that. Don't know how to necessarily research things. It's not their fault. You come out of college, you come out with a certain amount of information in your head. Then you're supposed to get a job that's supposed to give you on-the-job experience that helps you leverage that information that's in your head. Right? When I was a kid, you couldn't get into the financial industry unless you had financial industry experience. How do you get financial industry experience if you can't get into the financial industry? That's one of the biggest problems. Dead serious, I kid you not. I got into the financial industry as a consultant by mistake. By mistake. Somebody from the financial industry couldn't start their job, couldn't take on this assignment soon enough, and I could. That's how I got it. But we don't do on-the-job training the way we used to. We do not. This country spends a lot of time trying to figure out how to take out small businesses. Amazon's whole architecture is how do you take out small businesses? Oh, we're going to first come off like we're trying to help small businesses. We all forget about how books happen, right? Anyway, they built a platform that says, oh, we're going to help small businesses. They're going to make more money and blah, 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 blah. Oh, my God. All of a sudden, the product that I sell that nobody else was selling, Amazon's selling. Go look around Amazon. Amazon Basics, Amazon this, Amazon that. There are a lot of products out there that other companies used to make, and they went out of business because Amazon started stealing their products. Big business is always trying to step on little business. Except companies like Arizona Iced Tea and Costco. They figured out what enough is. And these businesses continue to get away with it. You got a raise. Oh, wow, you got a 3% raise. You got an exceeds, and this person got a meets, right? Meets expectations. This person got exceeds expectations. They both got the same 3% interest, the 3% increase. Oh, but that's less than inflation, huh? That's one of the points Sutanix is making. We should be making the money to keep up with inflation so our dollar maintains itself. The value that we're working for maintains itself. If we do not do that, people just keep sinking and keep sinking and keep sinking. You have companies out there that are making record profits and still having layoffs. still having layoffs. Wow. Because enough has not been defined. How many tax loopholes, tax write-offs do they get? And the government isn't making enough money to pay its debt. So the plan is to grow the debt. What? Yeah. So this week, what are we looking for? Jobless claims, FOMC, trade wars, unnecessary trade wars, right? PMI. So those are the things that I'm going to be looking at this week. That's really what I'm going to be looking at this week. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at things and I'm saying to myself, when I just take a step back and look at everything from a broad, high level view, what do I see? I see a mess. I see a mess, a recoverable mess, but a mess nonetheless. How is it a mess? Well, we've got a whole bunch of rich people getting tax write-offs, companies getting tax write-offs, and clamoring for a more conducive, environment for them to make more money. While other people are pounding the pavement because they just watched their job go overseas. I'm telling you, I think one of the biggest wake-up calls is you're going to start to see major institutions fall down. You're going to see major companies fall down because they forgot who their customers are. And if you're not employing your customers, right? If you're not employing your customers, they can't afford to be customers. Just saying. At some point, enough has to be defined. Gold is moving up, by the way. Looks like no rate cuts in the air. I told you that already. Come on, are you serious? Nobody's expecting rate cuts. If there was a rate cut that's coming on Wednesday, it would be the biggest of surprises. It would be the biggest of surprises. The market would go insane. And the first thing that I would do is wait a little bit and then dump. I would wait a little bit and then dump. Why? Oh, because reality will kick in. At some point, reality is going to kick in and people are going to start looking. It won't just be Rand Paul that's saying, what are you doing with this tax bill? Are you serious? $36 trillion deficit and all you want to do is increase that deficit? Yeah, that's not working for it. I'm telling you, you're going to start to hear a lot of traditional Republicans start to speak up. You're going to start to hear a lot of people in government, no matter the party, no matter how tall they are, no matter what color they are, you're going to have a lot of people start speaking up, talking about, why aren't we talking about this? Why aren't we actually doing something about this? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what happens to the United States if we don't handle that $37 trillion worth of deficit that we have. No, getting the huge solar grid anyway. What you said is correct. I'm still going to do that because the amount of power that I create over the summer where the sun is hitting me at the right angles, I'm going to build up for winter use when I'm producing less electricity. That's what's up. I want to get to a point where I'm producing so much that, yeah, no. And we already do that. I already have that in the house. Yeah, no, I'm not worried about it. I've got all kinds of smart devices around the house that will turn things like off. Like lights that shouldn't be left on. Yeah, no, that's off. Devices that don't need to be plugged in, that's off. You know what I mean? Like when you travel in Europe, do you know you have to, some hotel rooms right now, even in the United States, you've got a master switch that you've got to turn on. They're forcing you to kind of cut back on that use. All kinds of things are going on right now to bring down costs. All kinds of things. What else do we have? We've got Solana quietly patched a critical bug in its token 2022 protocol that could have allowed unauthorized token minting, sparking backlash over centralization after over 70% of the validators coordinated the fix privately before public disclosure. Yeah. So not only do you have, and I've been saying it for a while, not only does Solana have a network gremlin that they have yet to fix, I think it's still there, but they had something like this pop up, and you got 70% of the validators to do it before you actually told the public. Yeah, Solana's always had a decentralization problem. Solana is not as decentralized. Like, I don't think Solana is decentralized at all. I do not think it's decentralized at all. You got 70% of the validators out there to do something, and you're still calling yourself decentralized? And nobody said anything until after it was done. Huh? That's unheard of. That's crazy when you stop and think about it. That's insane. So yeah, no, I have zero trust in Solana in terms of building anything on it that means something. I was listening to another person in the crypto space, another influencer, and he was like, that's why I like all the layer ones, and it's because all the layer ones, they have everything built on it. But then he's always talking crap about Ethereum, and I'm like, how do you big up Solana and trash Ethereum? How do you do that? Like, based on what he's saying, everything's built on them. The layer ones are the base for all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. How do you bash Ethereum and don't bash Solana? Ethereum, decentralized. Solana, clearly not. Ethereum, network gremlin? No. Solana clearly has. So yeah, I mean, I still hold my bag of Solana. I still do. I absolutely do, because I still think Solana is going to hit 250. Why? Because people are stupid. I mean, Galaxy Digital went out and they sold their Ethereum and they replaced it with Solana. Seriously? So I'm kind of like, yeah, nah. I'm going to do what I do. Indonesia suspended WorldCoin and World ID services after failing to register properly and misusing their current licenses. And I sat there and I just giggled about it. Because now they're coming to the United States with 6 different sites. And I'm like, I find that to be funny. But you know what we should do? That's right. We should get into the numbers. Let's go do this. Let me get my notes out of the way. And we'll start down here. Earnings. Who do we have? Let's do it for the week. Who do we have? We have Palantir, big name, Uber, Walt Disney, AMD, ARM, Vertex, Shopify. Wow. Mercado Libre. We got a lot of big names that are reporting this week. It's not over yet. DoorDash reports this week. Wow. Duke Energy. That's something I want to hear about. I want to hear from Duke Energy for sure. For sure. Then you've also got this week, Monday, ISM services, S&P final U.S. services PMI. Yep, that's nice. Tomorrow you get U.S. trade deficit. Yeah. Wednesday, you also have the FOMC meeting that happens Tuesday. Wednesday, you have the actual FOMC announcement. Fed Chair Powell speaks. You also get consumer credit. Consumer credit, nobody's going to pay attention to. Everybody's going to be listening to what the projection is for coming out of Jay Powell. And again, I will say that a lot of people want to blame Jay Powell for, not doing enough. You're laying the blame at the foot of the wrong person. Blame the person that started the chaos, because I can almost guarantee you we already would have had one. He was expecting to do 2 this year. I think we already would have had 1. I think we would have had 1 decrease in the interest rate already. But how do you react? Hey, Turtle. How do you react? Please stop saying red wagon because nobody understands it. Nobody's going to get it. Nobody understands the meaning. Or you're going to have to say red wagon and this is what it means. You know how you say a word in one sentence and you give the definition of the word in the next sentence? Because you're afraid people don't understand. Yeah, that. You're going to have to do that. So you can't blame the guy who didn't create the chaos for not fixing the chaos. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. So yeah, you got that. Thursday, we get initial jobless claims, U.S. productivity, wholesale inventories. Thursday, you get ton of Fed speak. And I'm telling you, you better be paying attention to that Fed speak. You had better be paying attention to it. You'll be all the happier for it to know what everybody's thinking. I don't listen to the odds. Everybody's like, oh, their percentages are, we think the odds are. And I don't care about that. I'm listening to what they're saying so I can come up with my own decision on what's going on. That's the big deal. DeFi Llama, what are we looking at? We're looking at $107.49 billion in total value locked right now. Let me just do this. And with the stable coins, takes a little bit for it to load. Just give me a break. There you go. That's what I want to see. And I want to bring this up. That's not what I was looking for. I hate when that happens. Not bad. Not bad. I'm actually not upset about that. Right? Not upset about that at all. Right? But I wanted to bring this up. It's not letting me grab what I want. There it is. All right. Gives me a better perspective of what's going on near term, right? Closer to. So that's what we're looking at. So I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing right here. Right? We need to be at 107. We need to be at 150 is where we really need to be. We're operating well below where we normally would be. Right? What else do we have? See that? Downturn. Is that what we wanted? No, we were moving in the right direction, and now we're moving slowly down again. We need to be at the upper half of my pink band right here. My pink band goes from $93,434 to $99,655, right? $99,655, in case I said that wrong. That's where we need to be in striking distance of our all-time high. That's where we need to be for Bitcoin, right? It really is. No jokes. Looking at the big board, Sui's on it. Sui's trying to find its way back. It's still down from the 380 that it hit early last week. But to me, this is still a good buying opportunity. I can sprinkle DCA right now and be totally fine with it. I'm just not making any major moves until Wednesday. That's what I'm looking at. Yep, PaxG is always going to do well. I think it's always going to do well. Here's where we are right now when you look at things, and it's kind of like, yeah, all right. Right? I mean, I can just see things moving along. But again, I'm looking at Solana shooting itself in the foot all over again. And I keep telling people, if you're paying attention to Solana, you should be paying attention to Cardano and Sui and Ethereum. There are a lot of other coins you should really be paying attention to. Why? Because they have more potential. I don't think it's going to be that long before people start waking up on Cardano and start really using it, and that news starts to get out. I think that's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. Let's see. Looking at the GMB crypto tracker. I just want to see who are the losers. So my losers are ENS down 6%, 6.74% with a GMB X factor of 3.74. Mantra tanked. It's done. It's done. It might not ever come back. Mantra's done. It's down another 6.49%. It's got a GMB X factor of 22.02. Yeah. Pay attention. And then you come down and there's nobody else that I'm paying attention to because I have a 5% rule. Then you start looking at the winners and you realize, yeah, you get to the 5% rule real fast. the last one is going to be SUI, and it's got a GMB X factor of 0.57. A16Z, they changed their name. I forgot what it was to because it's still here as A16Z. It's got a GMB X factor of 8.33 with a upward move of 7.35%. Pudgy Penguins is up 8.74%. I can't remember if I still own Pudgy Penguins. I can't remember at all because if I do, it's about this much. It's got a GMB X factor of 5.35. Turbo, another meme, a GMB X factor of 1.68. Virtuals protocol, they actually do something. GMB X factor of 1.91, up 9.30%. These are the things that I'm paying attention to. I'm paying attention to projects that are doing something, not meme coins. Your big movers are going to be the ones that are doing things. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes, tell your friends about us, and definitely become a big bagger. We've got the next big bagger private video conference call that's happening this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's only for big baggers, and we talk about everything. And you better believe this week we're going to have much to talk about. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you for your trust. Please, everybody, have a great